stress, but should be good now.
Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
we don't have to stress. We have time.
No, only stress, only bad vibes. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I guess you're here first, so we'll do your video first.
Yes. Oh, wait.
So is this one here the Malmo? I hope I'm saying it right. Versus. So when there's like two dots below, above an O, what kind of
Wait.
intonation is that? Like torn? Like do I have to like?
Uh, my name is Persson. Persson in Swedish. Person. Turn. Uh,
Turn.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like
Uh.
Uh.
Torn.
Yeah, you say torn. So yeah,
That's cool.
it's a Polish last name from my mom's side. So
Okay.
yes, it's the Malmö International match against Kenneth Knudsen.
News. Okay, so this, and I see you're actually like you're kind of popping off recently. You're getting some pretty decent results, it seems.
Yes, thank you.
At least within Sweden.
Yes, yes. And I got third on Nordic Championships.
That's high.
So that's pretty.
I lost to your boy recently. What's his face? Carlton something.
What?
I think in Turkey I lost to a Swedish guy. I forgot his name, but he's got two last names. But anyway, all right. So let's look at this bout.
Kongstad?
Not
Yeah,
Kongstad.
Konstad is Danish.
Yeah, he's from Denmark. I'm just gonna look at
Oh.
the final score real quick. Okay, so
Should I say some backstory to like?
yeah, so let's go in with this is about I haven't watched. So give me the lore.
Yes. Could you live stream on Discord or?
Oh shoot. Yeah, I can do live stream on Discord and then open to YouTube as well, just to get the
Yes.
views if you can.
Yes, of course, of course.
I will share screen. Okay, I think
So.
this should be good, right?
Let me see. Yes, I see you. Great.
Okay.
Okay. So, yes, Malmö International. It's one of the bigger competitions in Sweden.
Okay.
So it got some international fans there, like mostly the Swedish national team and the Danish and I think it was the Lithuanian. So yeah, it's a good competition. I did not have the best day, so I got ranked in the middle, and had I close bout the match before, won 15-14 in overtime with 4 doubles. Yeah, I was not fencing very good in the beginning of the day, but this last match, even though I lost, I think I fenced. I fenced pretty good. Many
Okay,
good
so
points. So
when you're saying you weren't having a good day, what, like other than losing points, right? Which is obvious. Like no one's having a good day when you're losing points. So other than losing points, what like, why were you having a bad day? Like what makes you feel like you're having a bad day?
I was first I was pretty tired, like, and but it's probably mostly like I felt stressed from being a little bit tired, and like my fencing was not horrible in the rest of the day. It was, but yeah, it was not.
Fencing was
Yeah.
not horrible. That's always a good start. So
Yes, but I did some horrible choices from some matches, like
what kind of choices?
in the pool. Like when I fenced better fencers, I did not completely Uh, I was not completely on point, so it was. Uh,
Okay, so let's keep diving in deeper. I'm like your
yeah.
psychologist right now.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
did
I'm trying to think because
just
yeah.
I guess
I think
for
I was.
disclaimer, not medical advice. I'm not licensed,
No.
so this is just
Yeah.
helping. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you're not on point in pools. Why is that? Where did that start?
I think that because I was tired, I got a little bit stressed, and that made me unfocused, and that I guess a little bit lazy. No, I should not say lazy, but
No, that's a good
not
start.
that
See,
sharp.
right away, right? You're able to tell me that because you were tired, you were not focused,
Yeah,
right? So that's like that already gives you an answer, right? So tired equals not focused. Another that already gives you a lot of hints, right? So that means if it's in pools,
yeah,
if you're tired, maybe you didn't sleep well, right? Why is that? Whatever it is, right? So
yeah,
that can right away that can give you a few percentage, like that can give you if it even gives you 1% better to like have a better night's sleep, things like that. That's easy to right, little easy fixes, right? So that's just at the surface level. So
yeah,
tired,
yeah.
not
I think,
focused, and why were you tired? Like, was it because
yeah,
of a
I
match
think
before, or was it
no.
because of you?
Um, it was yeah okay. This match when against Knudsen, I took the last energy in me. It's so there I was. Even though I was tired, I was focused in this match,
Yeah.
but not in the others. But in the others, yeah, okay. The reason I was tired, I I was sick the week before, like on the up into the week coming to the competition, but um, so that made me tired.
Okay, no,
But
that's fair enough. So that's very hard to
I
control,
was
right?
um, I was not. Uh, I don't think I was sick
Okay.
during the competition. So um, yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, I lost. I had not the best focus on the pool, but on this elimination, it was okay.
Okay, and that's absolutely fine. So here we are. So like right away, see, we have just a little bit of info, and that's okay. Like we're not gonna overthink it.
Yeah.
So good enough. We have information. So what's your like? We have this homie here. What was
Yeah.
your plan going in? Right? Have you fenced this guy before?
Yes, I fenced him one time before, but I have watched him fence, and
Did you win before?
I no, I did not.
Was it close or no?
No, yeah, it was super long time ago. It was when I was under 15. It was
Okay, you're still a child,
like
so
yeah,
we won't
so yeah, but I
overthink
got
it.
4-4 and then I lost. So it was my greatest match at that point. Uh,
Greatest match in history.
yeah, it
Match
was it was
before.
very it was a great match with that time. But
Okay.
I have watched him, and of course his teammates, and they have some similarities. Like they
Yeah.
have really good point control, and they really try to abuse being shorter. Uh, by
Abuse
yeah,
being shorter. That's
yeah, by
something.
trying to make me extend a lot, so they can punish that, and also going under a little bit.
Yeah. So
So
basically, I think to some extent that's them abusing how tall you are more than anything compared to them. If that
yes,
makes sense.
yes,
Relative to your height and your style, I think it's not necessarily them like abusing their inherent traits. They're using a bit more your traits against you. Because I know when you
yes,
get kind of nervous, I've watched you fence, you tend to stand up a lot. And that will
yes,
make you miss a lot of points, especially on short opponents.
yeah,
But yeah, anyway, just to reframe that. So that's good. And then, yeah, and he's Danish, right?
yes.
Yeah, the Danish, like they're all kind of not they're all kind of like Jorgensen clones, right? They move a lot, they have pretty good point control, and they kind of like fighting.
I would not say that. I would say they uh, they have the same. A lot of them have the same very good strength in
Yeah,
their distance, point control, and uh, really good at punishing you trying to extend too much.
Okay.
But so they have same strengths, but it's very different fencing Kenneth than fencing.
Yeah, of
Yes,
course.
from the yeah. Yes, but they have a lot of similarities.
Let's just say they have inspirations.
Yes.
So okay, so that being said, I didn't even ask you what was your plan?
Uh, First, I would not fall into those things. I said that he would abuse or try to punish me for being tall, and I would try to avoid too much parries against him because I know he's uh, good at them.
You want to avoid his
Probably,
parries or
yeah.
you
I
avoid?
wanna to avoid doing a lot of fencing. Like doing a lot of parades.
So you want to
Because
avoid
he would.
doing too many parades.
Yes, I want to avoid myself doing
Okay.
it because he would probably end up on top.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. And that was kind of so right now we're at we don't want him to abuse being short. We don't want to do too many parries. And then anything else that was like on your mind?
I don't remember more than that.
We forgot.
Yeah.
That's all right. So right away, my kind of initial thought is you're telling yourself a lot of things you don't want to do,
Yes.
but you're not telling yourself anything you want to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
So
That's
mentally, right now you're like, I'm not gonna parry, and fuck that guy, he's short. That's kind of it, right? So you're not really
yes.
giving yourself like something you want to actively do. So right away, right, we wanna find something to look for. Because when you tell yourself not to do, right, if I tell myself don't parry four, then I'm
Yes.
basically giving myself the option of taking six, seven, eight.
Yeah.
But I'm really like it's very ambiguous. All right, for you, from what I've
Yeah.
seen, you have an insane six. It's very
Yes.
fast. So
Yes.
maybe your setting should maybe be more like how can I take six on this guy maybe or something like that, right? So just as an example.
Yeah. Yeah. I would not restrict myself to Paris. I just not try to too much.
Oh my god, you're a ham. All right, but this is good, right? To some extent. Like, oh, that was ham as hell. But like this guy's got his hand low and his tip
Yes.
is looking really lazy. So you kind of punish it.
Yes.
So right here, very assertive. He's sleeping. You call him out for it. That's very good so far.
Yes.
Ah, so that was clever by him. So right, so the one trap he can do with a low hand, right? That's the
Yes.
one like realistically, what can you do? Four or six?
Yeah.
He's Danish, good chance it's six. Just from what I've seen from Danish fencers. Um, and also from the one reaction we saw earlier when you attacked him, he kind of went for a really late six.
Yes.
Right, right. He kind of panicked six there. So already here, when homie is pushing us, right, low hand, he's very calm. You fell to the like to his credit, there was a very good feint, but like you should be ready for this. So this information should have already been kind of absorbed by your supercomputer in your brain.
Yeah.
But like it's 1-1, like where the bout is far from over.
Yes. But it's good. I should have been more ready for it.
Yeah, like so for me here, like yes, he was good, but like you're in the middle of the strip, right? There's so much room. It's a kind of an unnecessary risk.
Yes.
But you can at least now you know he likes six, so it's not the end of the world yet. Ah, so you're a very chaotic fencer. Like you love chaos.
Yes. A lot of the time.
Right, like you're flicking, you're beating the blade. It's very good. It's not like for me. It's very hard to adapt to. Like it's not my style, but like if as long as you're aware of that's what you like to do, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I try to uh, fence on um, as much of my strength and not give my
Yeah.
opponent too much when, especially when I fence someone who is a stronger fencer than me. I try not to.
The thing
Yeah,
is
I don't want to give him.
I don't think that guy's a stronger fencer than you.
Not like physically. I mean, like experience wise.
Yeah, but I still don't inherently think he's a better fencer than you. So like, try not to like. So that like that's where like in a bad way the ego comes in, and then you
Yeah,
instantly start your game instantly becomes a bit more tight because you're like, man, that guy's a little. He should be better than me. So his reactions will automatically be godlike or better, right? And that all comes down from you. Even though you may not be, to some extent, you're a little bit scared, right? And you're not fencing to the best of your abilities. And then six again, and then you really like to fight, right? Like here, you're like, I got to do four. When you give a lot of chaos and you get a reaction, sometimes it's okay to just leave. Like
yeah,
that, like when you give a lot of chaos and all of a sudden you take it away, right? If you give him a lot of chaos, he's going to be in chaos mode and he's going to fight, and then he'll, in that moment, his experience might actually shine through.
yeah.
And then after that, if you just take that away, he'll be like, "Oh wait, we're not fighting," and then you can go back into chaos. So sometimes giving the accordion, yeah, you're very one-dimensional sometimes.
Yes.
Ah, so here I could tell that you're gonna go for a six just from the wind up, like for sure. From the moment you're pushing, for
Yeah.
sure, and then he kind of takes advantage and disengages a bit. Or was that a disengage or a flick? Either way,
It was probably a flick to my hip.
um, so here like it's kind of like fuck around and find out. You found out,
Yes.
but like that was very one-dimensional, right? Like the train started here, and then there were no
Yeah.
brakes.
Yeah.
Like the feints are pretty good. I feel like if he's not paying attention, you'll probably hit him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so this is not too bad. Let's. You didn't like necessarily mean to get it,
No, no, it was I was just tired.
right? But you take those. The only
Yeah.
thing I can really like, right? This was kind of like, as far as a counterattack goes, it's kind of all in. You can't like it's not like a counterattack. I retreat, counterattack, retreat. It just kind of happened because he wasn't expecting you to be able to hit.
Yeah,
Uh,
I fainted with yes, I fainted with my foot and then yes.
so right here, I can already kind of feel like you really want to go take six somewhere. Like you really like you want it so bad right now.
Yeah.
Um, be careful to like kind of stop the like if you're a hunter setting up an obvious trap, you kind of want to let them lose the scent like
Yeah.
that. So be careful with that. But you kind of I guess I should have watched the whole interaction before, but you kind of pull back. So that on that aspect is very good. So now I've forgotten that you want to take six already.
Yeah, it's the thing you said with being, doing the same too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, I don't know. How did that not a double? That's unlucky. So
Yeah.
like you're very strong and you're very flicky, but it seems your tip drive, like your tip penetration, is subpar.
Yeah.
Very flicky. So like if it came down, if I asked you to like take six flick, no problem. That would be hype. But then if I ask you to like take six go straight, I have a feeling you'd have a harder time.
Here I pretty much just wanted to pause.
Yeah, that's fine. But here you're probably tired, right?
Yeah.
So that's unfortunately very visibly tired.
Yeah. I got pretty hard punished on. I think it's the next
Then
period
here
because
he
of that.
like he can really feel it. So he flushes at you. You don't even take six. You just kind of hella like you kind of just prayed counterattack.
Yeah.
Like this is an okay double. Not the end of the world if you're stalling, but from the sounds of thing, you're gonna do another.
Yeah. I don't think I went forward now. I went back.
Right, so your energy level dictates a lot of whether you're gonna be defensive or offensive.
Yeah, and the clock. Uh,
Well, of course, yeah, the clock. Like here, like
yeah.
to be fair, with like 30 seconds left, right? That's still like that's a third. That's like yeah, 1/6 of the period still, right? That's a long time.
Yeah.
But okay, So do you remember what like maybe you're talking to your coach, or with yourself? I don't know. What was your thought process in the break time?
Oh. Um. Let me think just one second.
That's fine, yeah. Right? So like here I would have told you like personally I would have said like you need to threaten because like his hand goes low a lot. So when his hand
Yeah.
goes low a lot, like I would have been like you want to pressure that. You don't want him to feel ever comfortable not having any threat on you. That way he's always breathing and you can always bait out that six, right? Like on a
Yeah.
personally like I would have like gone for his foot. I'm like that's not your hit, but like personally I would have like every time he brings his tip down, I'm looking at his hand, and then if he like lets up, I'm going for his foot because it's gonna be a six. So I would have
Yeah.
like make his hand on like my first goal. I guess would have been make him very uncomfortable at the hand,
Yeah.
and then his movements will become more predictable because his footwork is honestly not that bad, right? He's pretty good, but I
Yes.
think his hand is lackluster. So you guys are kind of opposite, right? Your footwork is not your strongest suit, but your hand is crazy. So in the short term, right? We can't magically tell you to have better footwork
No.
in a 1 minute break. If you can, show me how. Um, but if what we can do though is turn your strength versus his weakness, and that just means every time he puts his hand low, you're just letting him know that you mean business. So that
Yeah.
would be like my immediate reaction to this. That's what I would tell you.
Yeah.
And then if you ever feel like you're getting caught, you just leave. Like you don't like the situation, I would tell you not to fight. Just leave.
Yeah.
The one issue here that sounds like though is you might get tired from that. But that's like that's very like hindsight. That's after the fact. So anyway, do you remember kind of what you were thinking in the break or what your coach might have told you?
I think the I had more focus on uh trying to uh yeah, and probably go through more because just with straight
Yeah,
attack. I
that's
think,
fine.
but that's what I think, but I'm not sure.
That's okay. That's okay.
Uh,
We're not here. We're not
because
going to be too hard.
I'm I'm probably I should at least be thinking, okay, the six is good, but it's not right now working. I'm not getting it, so I need to probably
See, immediately, this is really good. Like
yeah,
four, yes, you don't need to fight, but like you just leave. So that's already very good. Oh, very good. Okay, so already the kind of plan we put in that I kind of put into motion, you're kind of doing. So maybe you're listening to me from the past.
Yes, it's the greatest plan to listen to your future self or future you.
Oh, that was hype. Okay, so now I know that when you're on your legs and you're being very careful, you're an absolute wall, right? I'd have a better chance fighting a Viking than I would your 8 and 6 right now.
Yes, sometimes.
All right, so actually, like when you control the distance, you're crazy strong. Ooh, lucky. Okay, so already like your tip adjustment is very good. So at one point something's gonna go horribly wrong because I remember we looked at the end. It was like 14-9 or something.
Yes.
Now are you tired now?
Not as much as other.
Like why does
Yeah,
your arm go
yeah.
back so much? That's
Yeah, I was probably thinking that yeah, no, I don't know.
okay, so that's fine. So
It could be, but I think it's a little bit too early to be tired. Yeah, again, but I don't know.
yeah, maybe you just lost focus. That's okay. So like with things like loss of focus, right? I mean, it's hard to stay focused the whole time, but you especially at practice, you have to acknowledge it. Like if there's a hit, you're like, "What happened?" You're like, "Oh shit, I don't know."
Yeah,
You have to acknowledge it. That way, you can just be aware. Like so, like loss of focus is almost like your brain is like scamming you out of a hit.
yeah,
And then half the battle, like right, like let's say you go to Paris, right, and you know at the Eiffel Tower there's a bunch of scams.
yeah,
If you know about the scam, there's honestly like more than 70% chance that you will not get scammed. But if
yeah,
you are aware, yeah, if you're aware of the scam, you probably won't get scammed. And then like the other 30% obviously is up to you. But like
yeah,
just acknowledging that you have a brain fart will be able to give you a really good feedback loop. And you're like, whoa, I lost focus. And then instead of like staying in that moment, maybe you'll take 2 steps back or something.
yeah,
And then eventually, so just acknowledge it for now, and then eventually, either it'll stop happening, or you'll be able to have a plan for when that happens.
yeah,
But yeah, here like that's just you like you stopped fencing for one reason or another. Although here, see, like again, you're kind of just bouncing back, and he's in
yeah,
shark mode. You
yeah.
stopped
I
doing
think I
hand
look
feints
pretty
completely.
tired. Yeah, I think I look pretty tired. No, yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and then
This
I
is
were
basically
too
the
high
same
on the
hit that
legs.
just happened, right?
Yeah,
Like yeah, I'm not even seeing like your signature 6. He just got close. Holy shit! We try to counter it. That's it.
yeah,
So I think here we can definitely say it's maybe more than a brain fart. You could just be tired.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
now kind of like your fight or flight mechanism. You're like, man, I'm not gonna lose this bout. Now you're being active. But now
yeah,
this is not active. This is rushing, right?
yeah. This is just emptying the last.
Yeah. So now
Yeah,
you're
look.
like you found like that inner gas chamber.
Yeah,
So that means active does not mean rushing. And now, right, this one is like that one was too free because it's not like it's just not a good hit all around. You wasted more
No.
energy,
Yeah.
and you showed him that you're like fuck. You're already at the end of your gas tank. So if he just like shuts the door and stops fencing right now, there's a good chance you can't come back.
Yeah.
So right there. So focus and energy is what we can kind of chalk this bout up to so far.
Yeah.
Unless I see something insanely magical uh, in the next 2 minutes. Well, I like this angle
I
here.
think
I like we can see everything here. Anyway, go ahead.
I think there was some good touch left in the match, but yeah, it was not much.
I'm sure there will be.
Uh,
Like
yeah.
you're getting at least 3, 4 more points, right?
Yeah.
That's a Von der Osten over there.
Yes.
This is actually like this is quite a hard tournament actually.
Yeah. Uh,
Is this senior?
yeah.
Must be fun. All right, see
Yeah,
here again,
it's
right?
yeah.
You're kind of not really fencing, right? So from around here, this is not Caspian Torn fencing. It's
No.
I'm not sure. It's like a shell of yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's not active. You're not trying stuff. Like you try to one just as a kind of desperation. So here, like you're absolutely gas. You're out of gas.
Yeah.
Like here for sure, you're gonna do 6. I think he just attacks you. So did you do like a? Because I know you're still like junior, right?
Yes, I'm.
So did you do like junior the day before?
Uh, this competition does not have junior.
Yeah. Okay. So you're just tired in general. So that's all right. Like it's
Yeah, yeah.
fine. Like
I
you
was.
can do some fitness. You can do footwork outside, right? There's plenty of ways to practice this.
Yeah, yeah. As I said, I was sick that week, so it was not.
Yeah. Obviously coming
Yeah,
back too, right? Coming back from a cold, not so cool. So
yeah.
fitness. So here now we're seeing the hammer of the hammer of Torn.
Yeah,
Like now you're active, but are you going to be able to sustain it? So now right, you kind of rush, you get too close, and he disengaged 6 and hits you.
yeah,
So like in the short term, right? If you're in a moment like this, there's ways where you can really conserve energy to some extent. Is you
okay.
can fight, right? You push, and it looks like right you're pushing him like crazy, right? When he's back here,
Yeah,
you push, use some energy, and then just like
yeah,
leave the distance, like 2 meters, 3 meters, who cares? And
yeah.
literally do nothing.
Okay.
Breathe. Obviously, like yeah, like just go back, maybe put your point on top, breathe a bit. That way you can find a way to refresh yourself. But then when you go back on the entry, you have to be
Yeah,
very ready because right, if you're here and all of a sudden you go here and then you re-enter, he could just attack on your preparation, right?
yeah,
With
yeah.
that, and
Like
then
the earlier in the match.
exactly, yeah, and then that
Yeah,
can also become a bait though because he's like, wait, is he pulling the distance for me or is he right? He won't know. You can create a mind game, and in reality, you just want to breathe real quick.
yes.
So just a little trick that, like, I do that sometimes too. I'm like, to my own detriment, I'm not the fittest guy. Oh, good fight. Like that was like fantastic.
Yes.
See, that's the
I
power you
feel like
have when you're ready.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard another voice.
I feel like your fencing also uses a lot of the energy during the first period of the match.
Yes, right? So in the
So
first period, like we were a race car.
Yeah.
Second period, we're more like a bicycle. And
Yeah.
now third period, it's like maybe a tricycle with a motor on it. But now, yeah. So now he's being clever, of course. That's fine. And then yeah, and then also like your your foot like it's your footwork could use a lot of work, right? It's not super
Yeah.
stable all the time. You could gain a lot of benefits from like being able to a bit lower. By
Yeah.
being a bit lower more consistently, your tip will be able to find your target more consistently. Because
Yeah.
right when your legs move up and down like that, your
Mm.
tip moves with that, right? So that creates another variable for you.
Yeah.
So overall, right? So basically, you need to be able. Your energy needs to last. She needs to last 3 periods. Not one. So there's ways, right? So you either need way more energy. Find ways to find ways to conserve. Like you need to be able to last that long. I feel like do you usually do pretty well in pools?
Um, I would. I'm not that much better in one or than the
Okay.
other.
I feel like in pools you're a very dangerous fencer. But then yeah, in the DE, if I can survive the first period with you, I feel like my chances go up very significantly. But like I also so like you're posting a lot. Yeah, just like keep practicing. This is
Yes.
like not bad fencing. Like I don't think this guy is necessarily better than you by any means. Like you said, he has more experience, but that also doesn't make him better. You because he might have he might have been fencing longer, but I don't like he's not necessarily his time using his time more efficiently than you are, right? So
Yeah.
get that thought out of your head. No one is better than you. You just haven't had the chance to beat them yet. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, more questions?
Uh, yes. Um. Um. Sometimes, I have um problem, getting into the fencing. Like sometimes I go out to the pist and I'm more or less sleeping on the pist.
Okay.
Um, do you have any tips to really, yeah,
So,
get yourself going?
like at a tournament specifically,
Yeah.
how's your warm up?
I always first warm up and then I do some stretching and then I fence.
How much do you fence?
Uh, Usually like uh, less than 20 points.
Less. So like, for me particularly, like to make sure I'm really into my fencing,
Yeah.
like I fence till I'm sweat. Like I fence a lot in the morning or before a
Okay.
competition. So it could be fence more. This is also something like when you're at practice, do you do the same warm up that you would at a competition? Probably.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so that's good. So like, you need to kind of try to recreate that a bit of practice. That way you can know like how long does it take for my fencing to feel good.
Yeah, but it's not only like in the first match of the day. It could be like yeah, late in the day I could go out with not
True. It
yeah,
could
even
also
though
be that you
my
get
body
tired
may
late in the
not
day,
be
right?
like totally, yeah, even though if my body may not, like, even if I'm tired in my body, like sometimes my mind is yeah, not there.
Yeah. So maybe you could also have ways, right? How do you like to have a more consistent game plan? Like for me, generally, like one of the main things, like I know I'm fencing well if I can get a toe hit, basically. And if I'm not able to do that very often, I'm like, oh shit, okay, how do I do that? So I put myself. That's a very tough question to answer. Um, like, do you know how you want to set up your hits in general, or do you go by feel?
Um, I would say a lot by feel.
So by feel, right? So you can't. So when you go by pure by feel, right? If your heart is good, then you'll be good. If your heart is bad, then you'll be bad. Obviously, right? So maybe start by finding like you really like your six, right? So how
Yeah,
can you consistently get people to go into your six, right? I'll feint eight, go to the hand. Feint eight, go to the hand. Feint eight. If they try to punish me, now I'll go six. So find a consistent way to do
yeah,
your favorite hit. And that will take a
yeah,
lot of objectivity out of it, right? It's not going to be I feel good, I feel bad. You'll just be like, this is how I set up my favorite hit. And that should make
yeah,
things a little bit more scientific as opposed to just like, do I feel good or bad? Then that's it, right?
yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
Yeah. Am I allowed to upload this to YouTube?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Thank you very much for the analyze.
Yeah, no problem.
I
Anytime.
appreciate it a lot, and I appreciate your comments a lot also.
Oh, thank you, buddy. All right. Yeah, good luck. And then, yeah, you're welcome to. Like, if you have more questions later on, we should be doing this for at least another hour or two. So who is
Okay.
next? I think it was. Oh, it was our Epi brother Thornton. All right. So let's do second best Lamardo.
Hear me?
Hello, hello. Is the
Hello, can you hear me?
Wi-Fi in Britain dodgy?
Possibly. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, now we can hear you. We're good. So we'll
Hi.
do you, and then we'll do a taken username after.
Yeah.
So let's pull up the bouts.
Yeah,
So which one
so
do you want to look
just
at
a
first, or do you want to like machine gun them? Oh, homie's cutting out.
what's going on now? Sorry. All
Oh,
sorted now.
oh, are we back? Are we back? I'll turn you up so we can hear you. Testing. 1, 2.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Great. So yeah, just a bit of context. I don't feel like I've ever done well at competitions in terms of I do well in the early rounds, but then once it gets to the hard bout, I just collapse and it's more mental rather than
Okay,
technique or
what makes about hard?
well, one of them is just getting stuck in my head about a couple of times recently, some calls, and that's what I'm dealing with. And then the last bout I had was really frustrating because dangerously, it was somebody I fenced in pools and I beat fairly easy by doing the same action five
Yeah.
times. So I got stuck in the trap of I'll just do the same thing as I did in pools and that'll work. But the problem is he'd thought about it since pools and he just countered the action that I was focusing on.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could have still beaten him, but I didn't actually change the tactic. Once I'd realised. I knew he'd beaten it, but I just kept going with it anyway for some reason.
So who is this guy? Do we have the video here?
I don't have the video. I can send it over, but it's one where I just know what I'm doing and it's the same action 15
Okay.
times in a row.
Okay, no worries. So
But
which video do you want us to look at first?
yeah, so do you want to go with this one first?
Your AM
Oh,
Yorkshire?
yeah. So go to the bit where it's list part of the video that's attached on the. If you open the link again, it'll take you to the right point in the video.
Oh, I see, I see. Okay.
So somebody I've fenced a couple of times before, and it's always been very frustrating. Like I just don't feel like I've got a way to hit him. And it's only bouts to 5 for this one.
Okay. And then, so, yeah, sometimes when, so you beat someone in pools, but you can't beat them in D, or you feel like they countered you in D. That's a tough one because, like, in fives, right, you can be very surprising, and the same thing can work. And in a 5, the mentality is so different. Because mentally, like, we tend to shut down when we're down 3-0. As opposed to in a 15, we have a lot of time for errors. Right? Like, believe it or not, even at Worlds, when you watch me get creamed by the Indian, at like 13-6, I still thought I had a shot. Right, granted, my body language didn't say so. But,
Yeah. Well, I actually find the opposite a lot of times. Like, I can be, like, sometimes I've been down 4-1, 4-0 in pools, and I thought, right, I've got them, I come back to win.
yeah, absolutely.
But with these, it's always just like the first 5 hits make or break it, I think.
Yeah, so like it's something I say a lot in the chat. Like I fence especially at practice. I fence a lot. Like if I'm doing 15s with people, mentally I fence them to 5, and then if I'm up after that, I fence the pool bout with them. Great, and then my goal is like how do I hold that lead, whether it's by doing the same action or whatever. And then if I'm down, obviously, then my goal is to win still. But then I'm just practicing something else entirely as opposed to locking down about.
Yeah, because that's what I've been doing in practice, and it has been helping. But I just need to do it more. But I have been following that fence to 5, then through to 15, and it's been good.
So we'll start with this bout, and then I'm gonna keep pondering on that question because that's a hard question, and hopefully I can unravel it as we ponder through it. So this guy, so Afro, I'm gonna call this guy the Afro Man because his hair's sticking out. So he's annoying to fence, you said, right?
Yeah, I used to go to uni with him, so I fenced him a couple of times then, and I thought I sort of got a read on him, but of course it's different fencing at competition and just a club. And yeah, I drew him, had a good seeding, but drew him really early on at a big tournament, just before this. So it was kind of, I really wanted to beat him, and I had a plan, but he's really, really good at changing and just being awkward whatever you throw at him.
Okay, so we fenced him before, many times, and then he's
probably only about 4 times, I reckon.
Okay.
4, maybe 5.
And then, so what was the plan going into this bout?
Plan was just work off short target. He's very defensive, and just in general, I tried to work more off short target. It just feels a lot safer, especially French gripping.
Safer, yeah, absolutely. That's pretty reasonable to expect a French hip to go for the hand, right?
Yeah, and I feel like, go for short target. If I think there's something opening up, I can put that in later, but for just the start, short target, play with the distance, don't rush him.
Thing opens up, I'll go for it. Yeah, so that thinking already there, like if you think something will open up, that's already very vague. So very, like right there, my initial reaction is like, you need to tighten this kind of phrasing up in your mind. Because if something opens up, right, it could be like, if he does 8, I'll disengage. If he does 6, I'll disengage. If he does 4, I'll go low, right? There's so many doors that I don't think anyone can actually process that information at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So maybe the goal is like, which of his action do you want to beat? And if you don't see that action, yeah, now we can reach draw. But I think like, right, the short target is something you're always going to do, right? You're going to go in, you're going to poke his hand, whatever. Maybe look for the foot. But then after that, right, we need to look for something way more concise, right? I want to beat his 6. I want to beat his 4. How am I going to do that? Or, right, if he's a guy who does 6 and 4, I'm going to hit his thigh when I see either or. So I think having something more concise will help you get rid of that nervousness. That's the start. So let's go. So right now we know we want. And then do you have anything else to add beyond? So we're working off short target. If something up, I'll go for it.
No, not really. Just
Okay.
as you said.
So I don't know if I'm definitely not spelling concise right. I've seen you fence a few times too, and you've pretty like your footwork's pretty good.
Yeah, but one thing I'm trying to work on, I know Robotrad mentioned that I need to be more on my heel rather than my toe. It's hard because that's how I walk around normally, and it's something I'm trying to correct, but it's ankle flexibility.
Oops. So let's go.
So,
Alright,
just
so far
another
plan
hand
is working phenomenally. You just kind of poke around in this hand, and he just straight up lets you hit him. Did you say you beat him like 5-0 here?
No, he beat me. I think it was. I got the first hit, and then he beat me 5-2.
Oh my.
As I said, I got one good hit, and then he's really good at just throwing it back at you.
So like your feints like draw out a lot of things. So that's the good part. And I think also the fact that your first one was so accurate, like you kind of put the fear of God in him.
Yeah, so should I have tried to more follow them up then?
Yeah, exactly. Because now he's realized that you're absolutely like, so from the last like minute and some change. So you got this hit. From here on out, right? We'll go up to the point where you get hit. The whole minute, you haven't followed up once. And then from there, this guy seems to be pretty clever. He just pushes you because he knows at some point you will stop backing up. Right? He just kind of hits you. Oh, he grabs your blade. Right? Because here you're so, like, you hear that was close. Fair enough. But, like, if that happens, cool. But then you can't really follow up. He just gets too close and nails you. So far, lack of commitment. Sort of. It's actually, it's not commitment. It's lack of follow through. Right? So we haven't done, like, you're not really following through, and maybe, like, to some extent, when I know I'm not following through, I link it to me being scared, and then I try to ask myself, why am I scared? And then yeah, so like, I don't know. For me personally, like I guess I have the pleasure of having Nick Zhang as a training partner, and he's got like a godlike 4. So I'm like, why am I scared of his 4? Well, I get caught in it. Why do I get caught in it? Because I'm too close to begin with. But no, that was a redundant statement. Trying to. Like, are you scared of following through? Like, do you think he's going to parry? Do you think he's going to counterattack?
Yeah, because when I watch my fencing back, I'm always sort of late on the extension, so I move my legs first, but then I'm late to commit on the hand.
Okay, and
But
I
it's
think...
definitely something I just need to get confident with.
Yeah, and, like, your hand doesn't have to be, like, you know, like, traditionally everyone's, like, hand first, and that's all you do, right? Like, the hand should be definitely first. I think... that's you should learn it like that, but down the line, as long as your tip is what's happening first, it's fine. Because if you, like, especially French grip, right, we tend to, like, when we extend, right, we become a lever, right? If you just extend your arm all the way, like, when you move your arm, your whole arm moves, right, with you, and then if someone takes your blade in that moment, you will feel stuck. So it's okay to not have, like, to maybe be at 80, 90% and then follow through towards the end. Because if you feel something with your blade, you'll actually be able to kind of like loosey-goosey your way around it. I don't have a better term. You can like just wiggle your way around it, I suppose. Do you practice a lot of following through?
It's something I'm trying a lot more recently. Sort of like,
Okay.
get your prep and then follow through. But at competitions, I think a lot of it's just nerves, and that adds an extra layer and make me not want to commit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, fair enough, right? At competitions, things. So that could also be, right? A lot of times at practice, you might not always be practicing to win in a sense. And what do I mean by that is like you're practicing, like you're not necessarily it's not like a bad practice. You're practicing your short game, but you're not practicing anything beyond that. So you're reinforcing what's already very strong, but you're not necessarily working on some of the weak parts because, at practice we don't really like losing. So a lot of time when we start losing, we go back to what works. Does that sound that sound relatively accurate or not? Like if it's not true at all, like feel free to call me out. I'm just giving
it's
you like
true. No, it's true, but I feel like I don't know. I think with me, rather than falling back to good, reliable actions, it all just falls apart in a way.
But that's okay.
Yeah,
Like
what-
it's okay to fall apart at practice. Like practice is there for that, right?
Well, no, at competitions, I just completely fall apart if things aren't really going to plan.
Absolutely. No, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, at practice, I do fence to. It's more like action. So at the start of a bout, I think about 2 actions I really want to try and execute well. But make sure I don't force it. But if they come up, go for them.
So something that kind of struck me once when it was told to me by Papa Bois is it's very rare that there's like a bad action. It's more common that there's like a bad intention behind an action. So sometimes like the action might be right, but it's just done at the wrong time. I'll give you some ideas here. We kind of did a review of the lesson with Grumier the last time. But like, right, so from this distance, right, he's about 1 step to the hand. And if he gets that step to the hand, he can go to the body. So he knows that distance inside out. So then, right, Sicard comes into the distance and he gets it. So from these moments, like, you need to ask you, a way that helped me is, I'm picturing, am I the guy, actually maybe we can use snipping tool. So right, we have kind of the line here. Fuck, it's not dark at all. We have our line here. So like, do you want to be the one to pass that line, or is your opponent going to be the one to pass that line for the distance of your attack? So once you can get that kind of in play, fencing becomes a lot more easier because you know when you're in control and when you're not. So from here, right, he could either step in, hit the hand, go to the body, or if Sicard steps in, he can hit the hand without stepping and then go to the body. Are you following where we're going?
Yeah.
Right, then if we go back and apply that to your bout, you're sometimes stepping in to the part where you can hit the hand, but then you do nothing with it. Right, you're kind of afraid to follow through. And then on that last one he gets on you, he's the one he chases you for a while and he becomes the one stepping into that distance. Right, and he's pretty sluggish on his footwork, right? Relatively speaking, or pretty predictable. Right, we're seeing 6, and then eventually you're here. Man, so close. Okay, you both hit, but like, if you follow through here, he probably would have hit you, which is fine. But then you need to take that note. Boom. Now here, we're at a distance where something can absolutely happen. You can both lunge, but he's just more ready for it. That's why he parries you. But had you been aware of this distance, like I can see the 6 coming from a mile away. if you had like the, I guess, the courage to just go through, I think you would kill him. That makes sense?
Yeah, no,
It's
absolutely.
it's a lot of hindsight. Like obviously, there's a lot of hindsight, and it's like I could tell you this. You're like, it already happened. Thanks. But like knowing that distance when you can and can't do something, really important. And I think you're not always aware of what you can do at certain distances.
No, it's really like not just in hindsight, but this is an action I get caught out on probably the most.
Because I can tell you, like, your hand is clearly really good. I've seen you do some pretty sick toe hits. And on that note, right, if we go back, right, if Sicard steps into the, we can, right, so if Sicard steps here, right, since Sicard, he does a huge step, but like, there's literally like nothing stopping him from hitting the foot, right? This could be a lunge to the foot. So like on that distance, right, I think you have all the tools you need. You just don't know when to take them out. That's all. So let's finish this bout, obviously. Spent 2 minutes of fencing and like 20 minutes of talking. So I don't want to. That's not bad or good. Like, you reacted well. I think he just went for something, got a little lucky. So that one we can. It's a bit of a throwaway. Like, just you reacted too fast. Oh. So that one. That was a weird flungy thing, right? You didn't know what you wanted to do. But I could also see, I could feel the six coming from a mile away. So
yeah, I think the intention with it is meant to be a flesh, but once you took the blade, it sort of
kind of fell apart, right?
Yeah.
So let's. Right, so here, right? So this is also like, this is very telegraphed by him, right? You go for the hand, and then he's going to step back in. So it's hard to tell from this angle. But like, you're the one, like, you're already kind of in body distance. And unless you're hitting like first on tempo, so like it's like, let's say we have, how do I say it? Like, so his foot lands flat and you're already in the attack, you win that. But his foot, he's already in balance, so there's no chance you'll win that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so unless, this is actually really close to, actually, right, the first example he gives, right? So let's watch this hit. No. So attacking on his preparation, right? You see even here, right? Like, this honestly even resembles what you did, right? Like, ass up, like, just, you kind of went in and, like, the attack just kind of flunged. But why did it work?
Yeah.
Because Garotso, like, see, Garotso's foot is, like, still in the air and the attack's already launched. No chance. Right, you see that, right? Like, foot in the air. And the parry, like, a parry still comes out super late. So it's kind of what you wanted to do. You're right, in the right direction. But when you did it, he was so ready. So I think, right, so good idea, but the execution was eh. Sorry, you were saying something? Go ahead.
I think it was, yeah, sorry, I think it was close though, because
it was certainly close.
I think I landed flat and he managed to take it off as it hit him.
I think it was close too, but at the same time, right, I remember I fenced our pal Gornowski a while ago, and like, I swear to God, like, fucking 4 of those flushes, I was like, Eric, I thought I hit those. And he's like, yeah, 4 times, I'm sure. So sometimes, yeah, it's close, but like, close still isn't a point, right? But that's like even had you got that, I think it would have been like not quite deserved, in a sense.
No, I agree. I agree.
So let's anyway, yeah, just play devil's advocate in a sense. So let's keep looking. And see now I can feel you're kind of shutting down a bit because your hand feints are nowhere to be seen again. So you've become nervous. So you're moving your blade, but oof. And yeah, Wilfie. I like having cheerleaders. It's fun. Right, see here, right? Again, same kind of thing. You start your attack, but like it's just on. You just like the whole thing starts way too close, and he just hits you. So, if I were you, I would just honestly, I'm even just gonna copy paste this for you. Can I add text to this? Okay, I cannot. That's all right. So, we're gonna put this in the chat for Wilfie. All right. So basically, right, are you the one entering the distance? Right.
Yeah.
So, right, and then here, you're already in the distance. Go ahead.
Is there a right answer to that question in terms of could you let your opponent enter distance and then?
Yeah, exactly.
that
Right. So,
indicate?
had you done this from? So from right. So from here, right. So, the coach enters the distance. You can pretty much hit the hand with an extension, and follow through to the body. Does that make sense? So, right, if Sakar, when Sakar takes a step forward here, all Gremio would have to do if he wanted to hit the hand, he could hit the hand and leave if he wanted to, or he could hit the hand body, or take his action of his choosing. What's important is that you kind of make a choice, and both are relatively safe. And like as we go through the video too, right, based on the hand position. Right, if he knows Sakar is going to do 6, he can premeditatedly disengage 6. He can also the same action that takes 6 will also take Septim on the lefty, and the action will also become a beat attack if it's done well, just by virtue of the fact that he's looking to go hit. But here you're just doing things a little too close. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then here, right, same thing. We just kind of rushed, and then also your hand was like very low. But that's all right. Man, that hair is glorious.
I don't know how he fits it all in there.
So we're gonna go back. So, right, so from here, roughly, right, Grimier can lunge to the body. He knows his distance very well. You may not have a Grimier lunge, but like, right, so that just means you have to kind of find your distance. But there's things that will usually be the same, right? Your blade will be the same length as Grimier's no matter what. Like the blade itself. And he's even doing this with pistol grip. So, right, so he can enter the distance and hit on his opponent's step forward. Right, very far, opponent step forward. He can do a tiny step and go hit. Let's see where his opponent steps. And see, that's the thing where if you do well, he'll do Septim. But you see, I think for me here is you're not sure when you're in danger and when you're not. All right, so see when he does this, right? He just goes for the hand. If you're very good at this preparation, if you don't feel it, you can just leave Because you should be. Look how well balanced he is, right? In theory, if you were to ask him to leave from this position, he would be fine to do it. So I think, yeah. So, oh, this is actually perfect. See? So then here, opponent enters the distance. He can hit the hand. Like, he doesn't need, right? Since his opponent is coming in the distance, he can hit the hand. He doesn't even have to take that step forward. And then it just becomes a really sick lunge. So I think, yeah, work on knowing that first distance for you, and then the rest will be able to say, yeah, sorry, we thought we were watching Achilles with that glorious hair for real quick. So are you following there?
Yeah.
And then just from my personal experience, like the difference it makes when you got your opponent's hand, the difference between like you want to hit like within probably a centimeter or two of the hand, especially when you're practicing competitions, whatever. Because once you start going here, you can play around with whoever if you have a training partner. The ability, like if you get caught in the parry, it is so much harder to get away from it when you're stuck here than when you're stuck here. So let's keep watching. Is there another bout you want to go through real quick? I want to make sure.
If you have got the time, you don't mind.
Yeah, we'll do one more because there's only one pool
one.
bout. The second one? Okay.
Yeah. There is one from a friend as well. I'm trying to see if I can get a hold of him to join the call, but
Sure. We can go with that one later. We're gonna do take in username next, and then if you can find them or give it to me, we'll get it in. Oh, is that the one labeled Michael?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, let's go through this one first. So it's this one, right, against a white mask guy?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a pool bout?
So this was a team competition.
Okay.
I post this one because this was the one where I feel like I actually fenced well compared to other competitions. It was just constant good fences all day rather than easy fencer, hard fencer that you get in a normal tableau.
Yeah.
So I fenced this guy, I think, once ages ago, once in a pool bout, but I didn't have my head together. And then this one, we kind of already won the match, so this was just, but I was trying to focus on fencing him well. Problem is, this was another bout where it was just too many doubles.
And then sometimes I feel like sometimes you're very, obviously it's hard not to be. You're very judgmental about your fencing. I hear you're like, oh, I wasn't fencing well there. You're like, so, like it's a bit of ego, and it's very hard to remove, right? But then like think of it as like, in a sense, when you do that, you're being your own coach. Like you're being your shadow coach here. And that shadow coach is judging the you that's fencing so harshly that I think to some extent it actually affects your own fencing. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not to get too philosophical, right? But it's like self 1 is being very judgmental to self 2. And without knowing it, you're kind of shaming yourself. And then self 2, the one that's fencing, tends to lose a lot of confidence from that. I say that from personal experience.
So what mindset do you tend to go into competitions with when you
easier said than done, but like really like you would just want to like, you know how like when you're fencing really well, right? You're like, oh, I'm fencing out of my mind, right? It's like things are just happening. I fence well when I feel like, because I used to say a lot like, oh, I suck at fencing. Then I stopped saying that because I felt like I was just reinforcing like a negative train of thought. So basically I try really hard to fence without judgment. Right? Like even like Stephen Ewert, right, at Worlds, like he kicked my ass the last time I fenced him. And I just kind of removed the thought that anyone might be better or worse than me, or that I might be worse or better than anyone, and just fence for what it was. And that worked out a lot better. And one of the reasons that worked really well to some extent is because I was obviously I had the privilege to train with Cohen for like 3 weeks before that. But I was like, well, if I can hit Cohen, I can definitely hit Ewert. And then I just realized that by the end of the day, I was like, wait, I try to look at things as just actions. I can do this action on this person. I can do it on anyone. And then I guess like fence without judgment, or I guess no regrets, right? So you gotta, not to get too philosophical, but like, if you feel you're judging yourself, try to get to a point where you don't feel like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think that's. I do think I'm too critical of myself a lot of time, and I always look back on bouts.
Right, and then sometimes, right, you're like, oh, why did I do that 6? And it's okay. And like Papa Bois said, right, there's not necessarily bad actions, just bad intentions. And then right in your intention, you're like, oh, my 6 was bad. We're like, were you really doing 6? Like, should you have been taking the blade? Like, were you actually going for the target? So sometimes try to like scale back a bit and look at the overall goal. And you'll find yourself to be a little bit less critical. But obviously, like, it's not to say that we shouldn't criticize ourselves, because that's how we improve. But like in the moment, like during a bout, try not to be your own destructive coach. So let's watch. So what was the plan here? Like right here, I already want to hit this guy's foot.
Yeah, plan here was just to sort of. I tried to play a bit more sort of counter react, so wait for him to do something and then take the open opportunity.
Okay. So it's
So
generally when you
the main thing though was generally just I bet more than I fence, and so I've watched this guy fence a lot of times when I fenced him. And the key pickup was he likes his glaciers, and you just need to be ready at all times.
So generally, the plans you give me are like, they're not very relative to the finish ending action you want to do, which is fine. So we're going back to that thing we said earlier, where you're not quite sure what you want to do past the hand. And you'll get there eventually. But like this guy, right? My initial plan would be like, I don't know. I feel like he's either gonna do 6 or 8. But if he's gonna do 6, I'm gonna kill that 6. That would be my initial plan, right? So I feel maybe, I'm gonna like, he's got a high tip on his on guard. Initially, I would probably try to go under the hand. If he looks for 8, I'm gonna go see if he wants to do 6 after that, and then if I can beat the 6. I don't like beating people's 8s can be pretty hard, but like try to like streamline your plan to be less generic, because I know you can work off advanced targets. But what can you do after that? Because I've seen your skill set, and you have it in you.
Thank you.
Play FIFA. There's no chance you want to watch me play FIFA. So we know he takes 6. So why did that miss?
I think I sort of
So look at
last
this.
minute to try and go into the vest.
Exact. So you were a little late, right? So here, this is actually, man, this is perfect. So he enters the distance. You could have done this with a very small half step. Like you're already at the hand here, right? Like here, like you're way past the hand. And then you take a whole other step after that. Like your lunge should have already been started, right? You took that first step was way too big. Because I think the idea here is actually phenomenal, right? Like you're not gonna disagree that also like your tip's off in Narnia, but we're getting caught up in the details. Yeah. But right? But imagine, right? So from here, you're already in distance. This front foot should have landed now, but instead it lands here. Your tip is threatening nothing. So imagine instead here, your foot is landed, your tip's a little higher, and you've already started the lunge. This guy is donezo. But see, everything kind of starts a little late. So, right? So, good intention, but the action is just a little off. And this was the first leg of a team bout too. So were you the anchor?
There was no, they were individual teams, so 9 relays, and the one who wins 5 relays wins.
Oh, okay. So this was old school.
Yeah.
So he comes in. So this is good. See, like you definitely you have the power to do these actions, right? He tries to call you out on the step. You overpower him with a French grip, and then you just kill him. So like, definitely not a skill issue, right? Like it's just a refinement issue, and just perhaps a mindset issue. But I think, right, like your overall reactions and skills are very much on point. No pun intended.
So, but just what you were saying about tactics, I remembered one other thing I was planning. That last action, the duck counter, that's one from watching I wanted to try and do. But I just didn't have the right timing for that thing. Yeah, this here.
So a duck. Duck is very hard to do to some extent. So here, so when you want someone to duck, what is the sports called? It's the greatest sport on earth. It's fencing, specifically épée. So here, right, you're showing him a low tip, right? What is he naturally probably gonna do? He's probably gonna take 8. When someone takes 8, do you naturally do you think you want to be ducking when someone takes 8? Probably not, right? Because their tip is going low. And I'm already thinking about getting hit in the knee or in the bits and giggles. Right? He actually looked for 8, right?
Yeah, I didn't think about it that deeply, to be honest. But no, you're right now.
But it's fine, right? Just so, but you could do the same thing, and I think it would have worked, right? You back up. If you kept your tip here, or even a bit higher, you can show 6. I'll pull up my bout with Uwert, or bouts where I do ducks. Or even I think I did one. Oh, maybe I can pull up the one because I had a pretty good duck on, I think, Komada that you filmed. Wilfie.
Try and have a look, but I think some of them might have got corrupted somehow. I'm trying to sort them out, but
That's all right. Wolfie fencing, but yeah, right. So, well, I'll find it in just a little bit. Oh, it's okay. So.
Right, they open the hand. Oh. I'm like, this is insane.
I've just checked. There are a couple of outskirts.
So I'm just, I'm trying to find the hit. Crap, where is it?
Right. Spice, in the fence before.
Crap. Well, anyway, I'll find the hit on this, and we'll keep going through this bout. But the duck in it, this duck in itself is a good idea. But just keep in mind, people kind of have a cone of vision in general. And then here, and there's certain ways people will react, based where they physically are. And then in this situation, you kind of let them take 8. It was a double, which is fine. But again, you had a good intention, but just the refinement was a little off. Sorry, you were about to say something?
I think I might have found the duck here. I'm not 100%, but I think it might be the first one of that bout.
Oh, okay.
More of a lunge, but
What time was it
oh
at?
no, I found it. Yeah, it's I'll have a look at 110.
110. Okay, it was might have been more of a lunge. Oh, okay, yeah. So not quite the same, but there's things we can take away. So all right, I'm pressuring. He's backing up. Look how like we're never going really past this tip to tip, right? Like we both know that distance really well. When I get here, I'm super close. So is he. But like, oh man, are we being careful, right? And then so what triggered him there, right, was we're about to go past kind of middle to middle, and he thinks I'm going on his time. Right, so now we're past middle to middle, right? About one extension will hit the hand by each of us ish. But he bites and he takes the attack because he's still super close, right? But I guess it's not quite. But my tip was still kind of low. But it still falls into I entered the distance for him, and that's what prompted him to attack. It's a nice hit, but not quite what I was going for. In terms of the lesson, but still, there's still something to be learned. And then I feel like your tip is very neutral, right? You're always very much in the middle. Like try to see how people react, and it doesn't have to be a lot, right? Like you pinch your fingers a little bit, right? You go a little bit lower, a little bit higher, and you can accidentally manipulate people into looking for the blade where you want them to. Right? It's like obviously like just this is a bit too direct of an example, but right? If you're pointing at him here, right? Good fucking chance he's gonna take 6, which he does. But you can still manipulate that out of people, and they won't realize it. Those are the most satisfying moments, because then people are doing shit, and you don't realize they don't even realize it. So there's something to be learned here, right? And this actually kind of goes in. Remember earlier in the bout where I said, I think this guy wants to do 6, but he has a high tip, right? So I feel that if I can get him to do 8, he will then do 6. So watch what happens here, actually. Oh, so look at that. He does an 8, and then he goes into a 6. Right? He kind of looks low. Oh, immediately a 6. But because you went in kind of a weird... Right, 8. Right, look at your legs, right? Realistically now, because you're kind of in the middle of a half lunge into a step action, this turns into like a 2.5 tempo kind of thing where you have to bring your back leg back. And by the time the 6 happened, so you see the right thing you want to do, but the execution is like a little bit off. And this turns into a double. Right? See now, like you can't quite go into a full lunge. You're stuck in no man's land here, having to make a choice. And yeah, you got a double. But I think like your initial thought was good. Just the actual execution was a little off. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so overall, like, you have very good ideas. They're just need a bit refinement, like, on the, not necessarily, like, physical, I guess on the technical side or on the footwork side. Like, you've got all the tools, just gotta start use them a little bit better. And I think, yeah, if you, like, once you start learning this little graph a little bit better, like, being very diligent on when you're entering or if the person's entering, and knowing how far you can get away with one lunge, you'll be really set. More questions or anything? Go for it. It's what we're here for.
No, just wanted to thank you. That was really, really helpful. Thank you. Got some good ideas that I want to practice, and I will be watching that Grumir video again.
Yeah, of course.
One last thing, and it's just something that I've been struggling with because a lot of coaches sort of look confused when I ask them, but preparations, I kind of need a bigger toolbox of preparations that I can do in bouts. So at some point, it would be really helpful, I think, to have like a video, just some examples of some preparations, maybe.
Okay, yeah. So we'll use this. What would be a good idea? I'm gonna. Okay, I will. Hold on, I'll make a note of that because that sounds like a good idea. I don't have any examples offhand, but like, for one, so let's go back. Where was that? There's too many tabs open. So I'll give you a few examples. So like, obviously, like, right, straightforward hand, go. Right, and then so that preparation could be top of the hand, right? What do we get? And like against against your opponent friend here, my initial preparation would be under the hand. Just to see what he's gonna do, right? I want to know if he wants to do 8 or 6. And then right, obvious, and if you want, then you can do like outside, inside, and then if you want something, if that's not getting anything, you can do like beat 4 hand, beat 6 hand, beat 8 hand. Those are also very valid. Let's actually here. Well, I'll find the one thing. Bear with me. Hold on. I gotta look at one of my videos. So we'll do, what's his name? Oops. All right, so example, when I was fencing Viro, I think I get a toe hit somewhere. Right, so like this like the preparation can be the whole lead up, right? So right, beat 8, distract, and then after that, hand foot kind of thing. So like, work off hand hits and then beats and see what happens. That makes sense. So start with that and see what happens, and then let me know how that goes. But that's actually a very good idea. I will make a follow-up video. But like, just for now, yeah, work on the hand. Does that get a reaction? If you cannot get a good reaction, do a beat hand. And then see where that goes. And then after that, right, remember this, like, if I can hit the hand, I could probably lunge to the body and be very diligent on that. Hype. Anything else?
No, that's been really helpful. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, buddy. All right, let's
And I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, of course. Hype. Thank you for joining. All right, next up,
Thanks
I
very much.
believe we had a take-in username.
Bye, guys.
Bye, buddy. Yes, probably. Is it late in England? Oh, 9:41 p.m. Not too bad. All right. Who want take-in username? Ma USA. Let's go.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
How-
All right, Mr. Ma, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, hi. Cool. So, okay, so yeah, I believe you're here, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing about the length. This was a pool bout.
No, it was a D.
A D. Oh, we were speed running. Okay.
Yeah.
So why this bout?
I just like choked it so hard. I was
Choked
up, I think 10-5, and then I just choked.
Oh, that's the one. I remember you were talking about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what was your so we got to take notes here. What was your plan going in?
Wait, hold on. Someone's calling me. Hello?
All right. Hold on. While that happens, we'll look at the chat.
Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, yeah. So, what was your plan going into this bout?
Okay, so the first thing I noticed was that I'm taller than him. That was probably the first thing
Yeah,
I noticed.
well, you're a pretty tall guy, so in general we can assume that. But yeah, so is taller, therefore you're an alpha. Okay.
And the second thing was one of my clubmates, he's fenced this guy before. He told me that I should probably just use my lunges. And yeah, he said
Okay.
just straight attacks work pretty well against him. And yeah, that was
Straight.
true for like most of the bout.
Okay. That's it?
He also told me that like once he starts to figure out my like attack, I'm gonna like want to feint and then counter. But I didn't really do that because I kind of just I was unable to do it.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so wait, before I start, does everyone else in here have videos they want to go through? Or are we just, oh, my Steam popped up. Or are y'all just here for the ride?
I'm just spectating if that's okay.
That's absolutely fine. No, just to make sure, because I need to plan the rest of my day.
No,
Okay.
yeah, I'm a Sabra. So,
Yeah, I think
no,
Shokin
no,
has a video. But I'm
Be-
not sure.
It'd be cool if you looked at my video, but you don't have to.
Okay, no, that's all right. Also, I'll do a take-in username. Then I'll do a robot reader. And then Wilfie, I can probably do your friend as well. Okay,
I
so
also have a video processing at the moment.
okay, so yeah, well since I did this more for the EU time zone, I'll make sure to get you in as well. Okay, perfect. So anyway, let's go through this. There's plenty of time, no need to rush. Yeah, okay. So your initial plan, right? So I'm looking at this kid. Obviously, he's relatively new to fencing, it seems, and I know you are relatively new as well.
I think he's D-rated.
D-rated. And what are you?
Unrated.
For now. Well, like, that's a hype attack, right? You just attack him and life is good.
This one he kind of just like caught me.
So, why did he catch you?
Because my arm.
Oh, you... So, the big thing is, look at the distance where this actually starts. Like, even from here, right? Way too close, right? What happens when things happen way too close? Unfortunately, us French grippers, we do not benefit in general. Especially, right, you're newer to fencing. You don't necessarily have, like, the hand strength, right, to wiggle yourself out. So distance plays a big factor. So we're already gonna go back to our flow chart here, right? This does not start at this distance at all, right? This started at a distance where you both had more chance of impaling each other than anything. So on this one, the distance was actually really, really off.
Yeah.
Which is why he was able to kind of overpower you. But not the end of the world. 1-1, right? Let's not panic yet.
Yeah,
So
I wasn't really panicked at all until.
Oh, that was really good. Right, and I see you posting a lot, and oh, fantastic, we get a better I see you posting a lot, and you're clearly like very, very fast. So here, look. So this one is kind of what we said earlier. He's in midair before, like after you, right? Like you start, he makes the wrong choice, he parries, you hit. So not too bad so far. I'm very curious to see, to watch your meltdown. Oh, I missed that. Oh, so that's fantastic hit. Like so far, like this guy's giving you a lesson.
I think he's like 14 years old, so that's why he might not seem like a D-rated.
Well, that's all right. Like age is whatever, right? Like he's right, like the
He's like sleeping.
right, so 6. So right away, like the one thing, right? I've seen this guy take 6 like 8 times already in the span
Yeah,
of
I thought-
5 points. So why did that hit? So, right, so this guy shows you 6. He beats 4 and hits. So that's something you have to be very, especially with French grip. You have to be very cognitive of where your blade is, especially if you know you're kind of weaker, right? Like inherently, like 90% of the time, right, we're going to be weaker than our opponents physically because, well, let's be real, right? We can't fight too hard with French grip. So here, right, you bring your tips hidden, and then you bring it back up. At this very moment, like this should not just be like you should not be bringing your tip up just because. This should be like very deliberate because this is when you're vulnerable, right? And he promptly takes advantage. Boom, and then he hits you. Right, but imagine. Go say that again.
Okay, go ahead.
Right, so like when you bring your tip up, if you're not ready, right, like basically fuck around and find out, right? If you're not ready to find out, your tip should remain hidden, especially if you're not confident that you can fight back. Right, but if you bring it up and then he beats, you can counterattack, or before he starts, you hit him. Fantastic. So that's something to especially for your level now, like be very mindful of when you're vulnerable. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say like whenever I bring my tip up, it's kind of I'm just bringing it up just to bring it up.
Exactly, and then like sometimes like, and you could also be like, it could also be kind of like you're hiding your tip a lot. Because right, like at practice or whatever, like it's a kind of a defense mechanism, just because you're so sick of people beating your blade, right? And that's perfectly natural. You're still learning, and you're still like you're probably fencing with some big dudes and stuff, right? So naturally, you should definitely like just be cognizant of it because like it doesn't get easier. Oh, so this, he attacked really far.
Yeah.
But you see, he attacked really far, but because, right, your tip was low, it looks like he still tried to beat, and he, like, literally, like, nothing but air. And you just hit, right? So it shows that he doesn't need that much to disrupt your tip speed. So that's something, so right away, like, this is an important note. All right, there's nothing wrong with like defense with a hidden tip, but just be aware. Ooh. Oh, and look at that. He was allowed to disrupt your tip, and boom.
Yeah, I just screwed up, disengage.
Well, even here, right? If you were a bit stronger, more confident, you could have doubled this out. Right? You could have. So you lunge. You miss. He goes back. He yeets himself. See here, if you're stronger, you could actually just kind of slip your tip in there. That sounds so wrong. And just hit. Right, so I guess the technical term would be like you'd be able to land a really solid remise. But let's see, it's still good, right? The only feint I've really seen you do is underhand so far.
Yeah, because I saw like when you like show 6, he kind of like leaves his wrist open a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'm just like stick it in there, see if like I can get it. Like I just like never got the right distance.
Oh, man, dude, you're nuts. Like that's so hard to hit. Wait, I was like kind of okay. It looked like a hand flick, but it was still there. But like,
Yeah,
see,
that's
so
right.
this is a really good hit too, though, right? So let's break it down. Right, he's backing up. It doesn't respect your distance. Good. So like that's a fantastic action. So far, like I see you're doing a lot of things, and it's based off feeling. And feeling is good, but the problem is, we don't always feel good, right? We have mornings where we just get up on the wrong side of the bed and stuff. So just be more aware of what you can and can't do at certain distances. Because right now, like, yeah, I feel like if you wake up and you're having a bad day, that might affect your fencing a lot.
Yeah, that's basically how it goes.
But that's okay. Like, you're still relatively new, and this is a really like your lunge is super long.
That's part of the reason why I like got cooked at the end. I like overestimated my lunge distance.
So a lot of this here, you're catching him just straight up sleeping. Like, he's not respecting you. But, like, the fact that you're getting these is fantastic, right? This dude's, like, not respecting you. Look at that. It's like, he straight up crosses over, like, on the on guard. So far, the punishment is really good. A lot of it is you're surprising him. But you're not necessarily inducing him to make mistakes. Oh.
That one I'm not really sure what.
So that one worked. Right, see, he beat your blade, right? And as we said earlier, even when he beats your blade, you're not that far off of hitting. You were able to get a retreat. And you hit it. So we're now going to add to your cheat sheet. If you can retreat, you're also safe. Right? So if you're able to retreat at the same time, man, like, unpunishable. Right? So here, like, he almost knocked the blade out of your hand, and because you're able to back up, you still got the hit. So we have two little hacks that you can follow that will probably not instantly, but very quickly help you improve your fencing as long as you're cognizant of it. And that's be aware where your tip is, because that's when you're weak, but also just retreat. We're French grip, right? We get out of distance and we hit. Then here, I have a feeling he beats your blade as soon as you bring it up. Oh, you hate yourself, and he hits you.
I think I hold my blade too loosely, and it like one small beat just like sends it flying.
And that's fine, right? So like when it's down here, you hold it however you want, right? Like you could borderline hold it with 2 fingers, 3 fingers. But then like once it's back here, the thing is, like, if you're always holding it tight, you're going to be exhausted. If you're always holding it loose, it's hard to know when you want. So like practice, right? Sometimes it's loose, sometimes it's sometimes it's tight. It's kind of you have to learn, right?
I think it might be because I hold my grip like pretty far back.
That's absolutely fine.
I usually hold it like with my palm like in the middle of my hand.
That's fine. Like for now, honestly, like that's not the like I think you should keep doing that because that'll help you develop finger strength, right? And I don't think it's the biggest issue with your fencing for now. I think like right the how you hold your grip, I don't think is gonna magically save your fencing, or like not save your fencing, but right it's not gonna fix that many things. It's just gonna put a bit of a band-aid on things that you think aren't working, when in reality there's just a whole other load of things that we could fix first. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, so that was right. So here, and this is kind of what I was talking to Wilfie. Like your blade is, like your tip is like on his shoulder. Like he's gonna want to take 6. Or like, you see that? Like this dude was just like winding up. He got hyped up here, and you may not have meant to do it, but you baited him into taking 6. But so far, like, you're not doing any, like, really... So you're not doing any really short feints, right? A lot of times, like, when you go for the hand, it's from really far, and you kind of just, like, throw yourself at it and hope it sticks, right? But you're not really, like, disrupting. So you're not jamming your opponents. Need to disrupt opponent. Alright, so and then here you start the attack, but it was like at a really weird time.
Yeah.
And you see it, and then like kind of like how you did before, right? You had your tip in his face, and then he just started taking 6, taking 6, taking 6. Here, you didn't do anything, right? I just saw at one point you kind of throw yourself, and he takes 8 and just hits you. By disrupting your opponent's hand and legs, you won't feel as rushed, because every time they try to rush you, you're actually just completely you're being such a nuisance to him, right? So he won't feel comfortable just rushing down.
What do you mean by like disrupting?
Like imagine. So let's imagine here, right? You try a little underhand. Okay, back up. Try underhand again. Try underhand again. Like on a step forward, like here, try something, leave. Here, right? Oh, then he tries, but then he just goes. So like find ways to stop people from just going forward for free. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't really know why I did that. I think it's because like in the beginning.
In the beginning it worked. He wasn't ready. Right? His body language. Remember at the beginning I pointed out how he would like he just randomly crossed over, right? And then here. Oh, he actually still randomly crosses over and gets you. But he's ready on his legs. Look how like his stance in general is still way more active. Takes a nice 6 and hits you. So he's a lot more ready for your long attack now. So basically, go ahead.
Yeah, losing.
Yeah, and that's okay. But the big thing is, since you're not doing anything to disrupt him, basically now he knows that all your actions are actually like you're all in no matter what. If it's like there's no feints, right? So anytime you send anything, all I have to do is be ready and kill the all in with my own actions. That make sense?
Yeah. I think here I was just like getting too scared to try new things because it was working in the beginning.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like that's fine too. But like, and it's part of the learning process. So as of right now, I don't want to say you're a cheesy fencer, but like a lot of the things you're doing is because you're very fast, and your fundamentals are pretty good. But you don't know how
kind of,
to manipulate your opponent yet, and that's okay. But go ahead.
I just, yeah, I usually kind of just like try to use my speed a lot.
Yeah, and that's okay. You'll eventually find ways to hide it and do things. I'll forward you some fencers you can look at to get inspiration. All right, see? All he does, wait for the all in, hit. Right, and just like that, you went from a nice winnable bout to, oh my god, I'm freaking out. But the good thing is you're here, so we can learn from it. Oof. So this was about the one time you're kind of starting to faint. And it was a really good double.
I remember what my friend said about like once he starts like getting the distance and like timing right, I should like start fainting.
Exactly. So your friend sounds like he knows what he's doing as well.
Yeah. But I think I got too scared to like make like any actual thing.
Yeah, well, especially like when someone's starting to make a comeback on you, right? Or not even starting, right? At this point, the comeback's been made. Mentally, we tend to, like, whether we like it or not, we're a little scared, right? We shut down a little bit. So, why did that one? And you see here, your idea is not even that bad, but you put your tip right where he could disrupt it. He beats it and hits you.
I don't know why I like asked him.
I mean, like, it's the last hit, right? You might as well check, right? So overall, like, you're doing fine. It's not like you're not fencing poorly. You're just learning, right? But I think you would gain a lot from learning how to get some good feints. And remember what we did with Wilfie earlier, right? Like, you need to know this distance when you can hit the hand into the body. So I'll send you the notes.
One thing I like struggle a lot with is like when people like do a lot of like show a lot of parries, I like get too scared to like commit to an attack. Like
A lot of times when people send like parry a lot, it's because it's a facade. They're distracting you, and it's working on you.
Yeah.
But right, like if someone shows you 8, maybe after they show you 8, go look at 6. Like, are they going to do 6 after 8? A lot of people, right? Mechanically, we tend to do like when we do 1, we do the other, right? If someone does 4, they go to 6. Someone's 6, they might go to 4 or 8, right? So find out which one, and then a lot of times the answer is really simple. You don't have to look at the action too much. You just have to look at the big picture, right? Someone does 4-6. Do I really need to disengage 4-6? No, I just go for the foot. I go for the thigh. If someone does 8 constantly, then yeah, then you just got to beat the 1-8 in the right timing. If someone does 8-6, which one do you need to beat, the 8 or the 6? Well, you get them to do 1 and then you beat the other. But don't be too afraid. Just like don't be afraid to experiment, and like rewatch this video, and really learn that distance.
I think I watched that video, but like I think I just struggled to apply it because I just can't get the distance right.
You're getting there. Like I said, you haven't fenced that long. So right from here, so basically, like get a partner, like and each put on like a coaching sleeve or something, or you even just just put on your fencing stuff. And then you should be able to extend most of the way and hit the hand. From there, I know you can because you have a long ass lunge. You should be able to hit the body. Then after that, go hand. Your partner disengages, then you hit the your partner parries, you disengage, you hit the body, and work with that. And then after that, I think that will help you. And then that hand hit will be a way for you to start learning how to feint, right? Like feint high, they'll parry 6, you disengage. Feint low, they might go 8, you can disengage high, and you'll figure out kind of like which feints you like leading into what. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. All right, let's send you the notes. Let's move on to the next one. Who did I say was next? I think our Finnish friend. Did the video finish uploading, Lieutenant?
They should be now in the stream.
Oh, it's right
submissions.
there. I see it. Okay.
My family is, by the way, sleeping, so I might not be able to talk too much.
That's okay.
I can write in the chat.
So we will look at this one. So let's look. What time is it in Finland? Oh my. Okay. So what kind of tournament was this?
Nationals.
National. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
This was also during my conscription, so I hadn't been able to fence too much.
okay, no worries. Okay, so we have a left-handed opponent. He's pistol grip. What was your initial thought process?
The guy who I'm fencing, I was very familiar with him. I had trained with him, and I knew that he had a tendency to fall a little bit short. So my idea was to use my footwork and either take the space away from him or make him fall short. And
Yeah, not bad so far. Pretty concise. Anything else?
I also knew that he takes like a circle 6 a lot, and he never actually does anything with it.
Okay.
He just takes it to keep you busy, and then looks for counterattack.
Okay, perfect. So I feel like I would like to fence this guy. Yeah, like immediately when I get a lefty, like, oh man, if they like to take 6, I'm so happy. Oh, this guy's rushing.
It's very confident.
Oh, it's a long match. Wow, 18 minutes. Okay. So far, our first hit is very free. Oh. So this, like, not the end of the world, but, like, this is, like, to me, it's a little bit too free. Right? Like, you kind of got caught in a weird feint, half feint thing, and then you get punished. It's just one of those things where, like, you lost a point and you're like, what did I get from this? Close to nothing. Like, you didn't get much info. I'm like, I think this guy likes 4, maybe. Which is unfortunate. So, but that's okay. Because if it doesn't happen again, that's fine. Wow, this... So, our prophecy came true, or your prophecy. We knew he liked 6, right? But we went into his 6th line and didn't disengage at all. Right, so let's relook, right? So this is also just, I guess, like for me anyway, whenever a lefty shows me this, like 9 times out of 10, they, especially now that you like, before you even told me he likes six, there's like a really fat chance he's gonna go into six after this. Right? And then boom. And then like you go into his six, but you didn't follow your advice. And then you also say, yeah, you hadn't been fencing much before this. Oh, that's a fine hit. You're very good at infighting. That I knew already. So I want to look at your intention. Boom. Okay, so no. I guess being more nitpicky. Be very careful when people are like he was kind of, it was a little bit on, he was already imbalanced, and his body motion was not like he looked like he was kind of ready, but overall like it's fine. I don't want to be too nitpicky on that at all. Oh, he turned. Yeah, I would argue that too. So there, do you remember if you're arguing because he hit you or because he turned the back?
Because he turned the back,
Okay, that's fair.
and also he like avoided a hit
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of body contact.
Okay, well, as long as you don't let it like disrupt your thoughts too much, it's okay. So it's like it's a good habit to just let the referee know once in a while. So here, so you keep like twice now, right? So the first time we knew he wanted to take six, you don't disengage a six at all, and now he's pushing you, showing you eight like 3 times first, so you decide to go low line. Right, eight, 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 and then you go low line. So watch out for patterns. So far, like 2 times we kind of knew something would happen, or like we had a lot of evidence, and we just kind of impale ourselves. Watch the evidence. Not bad. So you really like to, from what I know, you really like to force actions. Direct. Oh, unlucky. I like this setup a lot. So I don't know if this is on purpose. So a lot of times, like, it looks like you're getting a lot of very good information, right? He shows you 8 and stuff, but then you end up doing something like completely opposite to what you're getting from the information. Like, not necessarily bad, because then, like, here you get him to go short, and you kind of do an opposition 4, and he gets the luckiest double of his life. So like, do you remember if your plan was to like get his arm out, or was your plan to go around his parry?
I don't remember.
Okay, no, that's fine. So just sometimes like your setup doesn't seem to match your intention. But like, it's just what I'm seeing, like you keep setting up hand, you're getting him to show parry, and then you really want to do like straight actions on the blade. Oh. So the reason this didn't land, so I think his like footwork is objectively worse than yours. Like, your footwork is prettier for sure. But the one thing he's doing well is he's really good at getting his tip on you in like one fluid motion. And for you here, right, you go in, prepare, and he just commits, right? See how it's like, you can kind of see he had like a straight line. And then you, it's like one, and then like really slowly back on top, relatively speaking. So that's the one thing he's got on you. So it's not that you're hesitating, but like your path to where you want to go is very long. Oh. Tip on target. So not bad. Good on both sides. So do you remember what your coach told you in the minute break?
He said that put your hand more up when you finish, like, and also that I don't need to force actions. That I can just let the match go by its own weight.
Of course, not bad. Yeah. Sort of that. Like, so a lot of times I find that you're making his hand move, and you're disrupting him, but you're not really finishing with anything based on what you're doing. So like, kind of like that first one, right, where he does 6, and then you didn't disengage it. Why not, right? Even though we knew it happened. Then there's the one, he pushes you to the back. He does a bunch of 8, and you just kind of go into his 8. And then a lot of times I see you make his hand move, but for what reason? I'm not sure. So maybe you're like, were you afraid to finish your actions on him, or like to finish, to not necessarily force? Like, you don't want to force, but I feel like you were a little, from what I've seen from your fencing, I feel like you're kind of holding back. Maybe it's because you hadn't fenced in a while, you said? But I think you don't need to be that afraid. I think you're very. You seem like a very strong guy. So I just want to go back to here. Like, see, like a lot of you do it. Like every time you move your hand, he follows it. To me, like this is very abusable. And you see, like even when you get in an awkward situation. Like, force is a bad word, because I know your coach told you not to force, but when you are proactive and you take initiative, even when it's risky, you seem to be winning. So I think, like, yeah, just a bit more proactivity will go a long way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And also, he also knows that I like to go to low line.
Okay. Fair enough, yeah. Whoops. Looks like my stream stopped sharing for some reason. So let's go back. So we need to go to the... Oh, that was fantastic. Right, you see, when you get to here, like when you really abuse what happens here, I feel like you could just kill this guy with an action like this every time. That was beautiful. Like, don't let him control anything. Nice. There you go. Okay, so far this was a very efficient break. Okay, so yeah, so you're kind of doing exactly what we wanted you to do. Do you win or lose this?
I lose.
Oh no.
The other guy actually took a silver medal from this tournament.
So here, right, so now here you're not disrupting at all. You're letting them push. So, right, so in situations like this where you get pushed down to the middle or like to the end really fast, it's obviously hard to recognize, but you really have to like not go back for free. So here you just back. He picks a moment and you feel strangled. And then based on the hits we saw before, you have no reason to feel strangled. You can absolutely control what this guy's doing. I can't really see it, unfortunately. It looked like a bit of a panicked action, but... yeah, I can't see. Do you find, like, do you argue with the refs much, or is it just in this one?
I argue when there's a reason to argue, but
Okay. Yeah, I know, you don't seem like you get tilted too much. You just try and then that's it. So you see here, this is kind of what we had before. You see how, right, his tip, even though his action is kind of big, goes right on target. But yours kind of takes the scenic route, right? You're kind of going on a holiday before doing something. Sometimes, like, maybe you're very focused on, like the mechanic has to be perfect or something. And then you forget to actually follow through with the hit. Because I unironically think here, right, if you committed fast here, right here, you kind of like try to move him out of the way. If you committed fast, I think at worst a double. Fantastic. So why did that work? So this one, see how well, like, see how direct your tip went? Boom. Like when you made the choice, it was too late. This is like if all your other if there's two other ones you miss, like worst case now you'd probably be up 1 point. So nice. We like these Nordic screams. I'm here for it. All right, so overall, the second period is obviously better than the first. Sometimes the difference between like forcing and rushing and like being proactive is a little rough. And then a lot of your actions, like your tip penetration, is not very thorough. It's like 1, 2, or like you're really looking for the perfect action. But and then so do you remember roughly what your coach said or like what your thought process was on this break?
The coach actually left while the
Oh fuck. Okay.
so I think my thought process was that at okay 4-point match I can win this guy in a 4-point match. I just need to like find my own openings, do my own thing, not let him
Yeah.
control the bout.
So yeah, exactly. So control, right? How can you in a sense like that, so and then just in general, like how can you remain in control of a bout? There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to hear your thought process.
Like pretty much by controlling the distance between us, making sure that when we get into an interaction, it's always like more beneficial for me than the opponent.
Hype. Okay, I
And
like that.
like
I like that explanation. That's good, right? Yeah. Like you control the legs and make sure you control like I think also you could add to that like keep his hand busy. I find a lot like cuz his legs aren't that great. A lot of times people when fencers don't have a lot of very good legs, if you keep their hands busy, it's a lot easier to control what they're going to do next as well. But yeah, another big thing is like I would I hope you don't get pushed back here, because I feel like if you get pushed back here, you're not going to have a good time, especially against him. So far, so good. It's a shame that the coach left, but it is what it is. Okay, so I'm already like, oh, God. The prophecy came true. You got pushed and you lost the point. So, in the first 3 seconds, I strongly recommend, like, just in general, make a habit. Just make it a habit of not, like, I try not to engage in anything in the middle unless I'm the one starting it, because otherwise it usually ends poorly. Right, so in the first 3 seconds like this, you get rushed. I usually make it a goal to just not react to this. But like that's easy to say after it happened. Like if you had gotten the sick, if you gotten that 6, I would have called you a genius. So now you're getting pushed. I'm very scared.
Yeah, I think that his coach told him that
Just push.
push him. He doesn't do well in his own
Yeah,
area.
in your own zone. Oh, awkward. So yeah, one thing though, I haven't seen you do like pretty much all bout. I haven't seen you like disengage a 6, but maybe easier said than done.
I knew he likes his counter attacks, so I thought that if I disengage a 6, he'll just stick his arm forward.
He could, I think, like, but I think if a guy like this, right, if you get him on a step forward, I think like you have more than the speed to get it. I think you could trust yourself, but again, like it's in the moment, hard to be too judgmental. But you're very afraid of what might happen, and I feel like you haven't really tried. Oh, so then you got. Yeah, so you're, oh man, in your zone, you're very scared, or like you become very predictable. Really, she gives that? Is it?
Yep. She said that I was next to him when he did the riposte back.
1, 2. I think it's. I can see it both ways. I think it's
From her
fine.
perspective, it looked like I was next to her, so
Yeah,
It's
I
fine.
can like from her perspective, I can see what she sees. But yeah, so like overall, right? I feel like a lot of times your difference between proactive and rushing an action can be very different, right? And then I feel like you're underestimating your skills a little bit. You're like very afraid of like, oh yeah, I might not disengage a 6 because he'll do 4 after or whatever. I feel like you have more than enough skill to just kill this guy. Like go through a 6 on a good lunge or something. And then like, how can you get more comfortable in your zone? That's the hard part. And that would be like maybe trusting, right? If you can trust your simple attack, trust your feints or something like that. To some extent, I feel like you might not trust your... Like you might not entirely trust your skills, even though I can see that you have them. So find ways to like never try not to go back. Right, so make sure you don't go all the way to the end for free. That will help your fencing in the long haul a lot. But like, it's not a bad bout. Like this guy looks relatively solid, right? And you're obviously a very solid fencer. I just think you need to believe in yourself a little bit more. But do you have questions or anything else?
There's also from like a team bout match in the
Team.
in
Okay.
the stream subs.
Okay, I'll have to ban. Great. All right. Well, that's awkward.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to keep that one for next time because I've got time for one more and then that's it. And I got to do robot readers.
Yeah.
No worries.
One
All right.
question.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
How do you find the difference between forcing actions and proactivity?
So usually, like, when I'm forcing, it's kind of like I've kind of picked that I'm gonna do this action no matter what's in front of me. I'm not even thinking what the other guy might do. As opposed to proactive, I'm like actively, like I'm like actively creating something, or I'm being very responsive.
See,
Does that make sense? Like a lot of times, I feel like you're just kind of like I'm gonna do something no matter what happens. So yeah, so in general, like that's the main difference I see. But like when I'm being proactive, I'm like I have an idea in mind, but it's more flexible. Like I'm fencing the bout instead. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does.
Or it's like it's
like,
I guess it's less stubborn.
Mm.
Cool.
It's like
Yeah, go ahead.
the difference between choosing your action between like what you want to do and between what you should do.
Exactly. That's good. Yeah, good comparison. Hype. All right, man.
Yeah,
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you for joining. You're always yeah, hopefully I'm not I don't think you'll be I'm going to see what time I can make the next one in November, but I don't know if it's going to be EU friendly. But if I have time, I'll review that other bout for you and just send it to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, buddy. All right, robot reader. It's a man with a plan.
Hello.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good.
Good, good. Are you out? Are you like you're still in Israel, aren't you?
Yeah, still in Israel. I moved a little bit further north where it's a lot safer.
Okay, good. That's all right. I'll leave that there as long as you're safe.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, sure. Nibs. Let's see. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm
if
here.
I'll have time to get to it, but we'll see. Anyway, I'll do this one first, and if I have to, I'll save you first for the next one after the Mac.
Alright, cool.
But we'll see how long this one takes. All right. So this is Budapest World Cup.
Yeah. So, like, I'm proud of this one because it's my first win at a World Cup. But also, I looked at it, my coach looked at it, and I really wanted another perspective from a high-level fencer. Just to sort of, as a reality check, to where I'm actually at.
Which one are you? Sorry.
So he's
On the left.
our boy on the left. So also alone like so yeah, World Cups are like super nerve-wracking because it's hard to find the balance between am I being proactive or not enough, and then you never know who's like a hidden god. Okay, so who is this guy? Where is he from?
He is from Serbia. His last name is Jurovic. I'm pretty sure this is his first or second World Cup too, because I'd never heard of him, and he did worse than me in the ratings.
Okay, yeah, is this guy already like on his on guard? Like your on guard is obviously already better, and his is, I don't know. I'm not getting crazy vibes. So what was your plan going in? So it was probably your first time fencing him. Had you watched him fence yet?
A little bit in the pool. I don't remember what my impression was except aggressive. And he
Oh,
definitely ran a few people down in the pool. I think he got a win, and he was definitely noticeably aggressive and pushing. And so my plan was my basic plan, which was to to force a distance decision and make him choose wrong, where he's either attacking at a distance or
although that being said,
trying to prep within distance.
the your initial thing is you said he rushed a few people down. Is that what you said, right? Or he
That's
just ran
what
them
I
down
said. I'm trying to remember.
That's okay. Like if
You know, you'll see it.
Go ahead.
You'll see as it goes on. He's very, very aggressive onto the blade in a almost like a half tempo, prise de feu kind of a thing.
Okay. But so far, like, good, right? You're staying far. You're not doing anything too crazy. Oh, good shit.
Yeah, I'm really trying to find the edge where he wants to go. Like that.
So really good reaction, right? Even like the worst case there is a double with that kind of reaction, like with that kind of plan. So really good start. And in the World Cup, this like I don't know, based on what I'm seeing. All right, so you're just doing lefty French grip things, and I hate you.
Love you too, Sam.
Oh no, don't hate the player, hate the game. Yeah, so good start. So like right now, I feel like you're gonna win this bout off this first point. So now being a little too right. So the one thing, right? I feel like you haven't used the info you've gathered in the bout much. So like he started off by like going for some really massive take blade, and I like if you remember when I fenced you, I just shot myself at you.
Yeah.
But like it was very straight. Like my worst case scenario was a double. Which I feel is like, especially like lefty French grip, it's way safer to try something like that. But right, he tries like a really massive like 4 something at a distance. But then he shows us like he really seems to have an affinity for 4, right? Kind of a 4 beat hit.
Absolutely.
And then here we don't do much. He shows us 4 again, actually. All right, so he showed us 4 a bunch of times, and right, you still kind of go for that high line way too close.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling the distance here. I didn't have a clear sense of it, and so I was just trying random things if I remember correctly.
So 2 random. So what you
sort of
should have
push him
done,
out, yeah.
right? Like I feel like you should have drawn the hand way more because I only saw like maybe 1. I'm gonna go back. We'll go back from here. But I feel like you didn't really do much to like put any fear of God in him. 1, 2. Yeah, just based on what you saw, it was But that's alright. We won't be too nitpicky, but I think like just based on the information you had, not the best choice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So this is more like it, right? Like you both step in, and and then there's some wiggle. Like he moves his hand a lot, and you just get out of town and you hit him. This is more like it. Granted, like when you're pushed back here, right? It's a bit harder to feel safe with a nice solid retreat like you just did there. But like that kind of thing can still be applied here until you have no more room. But then when you have no more room, people tend to get too close. That's when you can really use that information you've gathered, right? And like snipe them on the thigh or something like that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, so just here you panic. Like it's, I mean, we all panic at some point, but I feel like here you just panic too early.
Yeah, I didn't feel settled, and I didn't feel like I was in control of anything.
Exactly.
So I was just kind of lashing out a little bit.
And I would say, like, to some extent, had you gotten pushed all the way to the back, to some extent, like, it kind of puts, like, an ultimatum, which gives you control, in a sense, because it's do or die. Here, it's not really do or die yet, right? You're not in the... Well, obviously, especially, like, it's easy to, like, call you out because you didn't get the hit, but, like, here, it was just like, I need to do something, but did you? Maybe not, right? At least when you get into the ultimatum zone, at least then you're like, okay, at least I know that I should not be here again.
Yeah, okay, I hear that. That's really good.
Man, your hand hit's really good. This is, so just for people watching, this is really good. What I like here is the attention is here for him. Like, I can borderline see him looking at your tip. And then he instantly looks really high. What do? Boom. Whether you're meant to do it or not, like, the process of it is fantastic.
What I felt, this was my favorite touch of the tournament, and possibly my life.
It's a good hit. Like,
He was coming in looking for 4 at a certain distance, and so I was giving him the distance to look for 4, and then stepping in before he actually took the 4. So he stepped in to search, and I stepped in, and that gave me the distance I needed for the hand shot. And then it was just very easy to hit it.
So yeah, like granted, you may not have meant to do it like step by step, but like by like pure instinct, you put yourself in a fantastic position. So here, okay, now we're back in this danger zone that you don't like being. All right, hold on. Soju, you like straight up showed up, and whether or not it was an accident, the N-word got said on a stream. And that's the kind of shit that gets my channel banned. So if I do not get a strike, I will unban you. If I end up getting striked, I'm sorry. So basically, I will unban you if I am not striked tomorrow. Anyway, back to this. So now we're in that hotspot. And let's see how you react. Hopefully not by throwing yourself. Especially here in this circumstance. See, again, kind of same thing. You went into a... Like, kind of a... Like, you're also kind of standing up here. Like, you didn't need to be here. Right, like you went in, did a kind of a big feint. Sure. But then, like, had you gotten the reaction you wanted, other than, like, maybe... maybe he comes in too fast. Yeah, you would have gotten like a free double maybe. But then if he does anything else, right? You're not really in a position here to punish anything, right? Like he takes the 4 he's been showing us, and then I think you just get hit.
Yeah.
So like it's not like I'm saying don't take risks, but like this risk just like didn't mean anything anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess like the action wasn't bad, but the intention behind it led nowhere. That was hype. but then you immediately follow it up with the world's sickest flick. Yeah, so like you're a bit like Wilfie, where I think you have like a really good bag of tricks, but you get kind of caught up on what you can and can't do. And yeah, just like refinement, I guess, is the word I use with Wilfie. But
Okay.
do you have
Thank
anything
you.
you want to add? Questions, what have you? And then like also like I have the added value of actually having fenced you. So.
No, I just needed a gut check on this bout. When I went over it with my coach, what we focused on was the lack of offensive actions, and this and across the pool, where I never all of my touches came from him coming at me and then missing.
Hmm.
And so you brought a different perspective to it that I really appreciate.
My pleasure. Yeah, so that's hype. So keep it up, yeah, and I hope anyway, please be safe.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Nibs, actually, we'll do your bouts. It looks like it's a pool bout. So we
Yeah,
should
it's a
be
pool bout.
more or less on time. So I don't think I've seen you fence before. I see you on the channel, but I haven't seen you fence.
Oh, I guess it's gonna be the first time. Actually, no,
Yeah.
I submitted one of my things to guess the rating.
Oh, true.
That
I
was,
think
that
so.
was that was an old clip.
So,
This is, yeah.
so you're on the right here.
This
So,
was, yeah, this was against, I forget, he's one of the guys from the server also. I forget his name. Shoot.
that's
I feel
okay.
horrible now.
Don't feel bad. I forget a lot of names. Like, there's a good chance when I go to the knack that I will forget names. Don't. Anyway, so it's fine. So you're fencing someone from the server. Had you fenced them before?
Nope.
Okay. So what was your plan?
Really just to hang back because I knew they were coming out a lot. And so I just figured that, hanging back should be a good place to be for me, considering I'm better on counterattacks than attacking myself.
Okay. So you specifically like you really want to counterattacks.
Yes. Also
So-
foot touches.
Foot touches. Okay. So right away I can just from what you're telling me, I can tell you're really not confident attacking, right?
Oh, I'm being also told that that's Jerry Zhang.
Jerry Zhang? Yeah, that sounds about right. So you're not super comfortable attacking in general, are you?
Yes. Not at least not directly. I can sometimes get like faint disengaged stuff, but not through the blade. So I prefer to hang back.
That's fine. It's part of the process. So you have your blade up a lot. That's a really good toe hit attempt. So
Oh, this is about to be the ugliest thing that I scored, which was faint foot flesh. I screwed it up. I don't know how I landed it.
So that's all right. That's like sometimes we do wonky stuff, but just because we commit to the chaos. So I like this attempt, and you're fencing like really really far in general. But look at this, right? He lands his foot, and you've already kind of made the decision to go try. But you're doing this from so far, right? Unless you're quite literally Park Sang-young. Like he moves his foot, but he didn't have to. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see where let's see where your tip lands. So it lands here. Like he didn't even have to. But it shows like in terms of timing, you have a really good sense. But in terms of distance, you're fencing really far because you're afraid of his blade, I feel. Correct?
I am.
So eventually, you're going to have to learn to embrace that chaos because you won't be able to go through a fencing career as a French grip without people taking your blade. Correct?
Yeah, true.
And then if you rewatch the stream at some point, like I went over this a lot with Horton and Wilfie, the second best Lamardo, about like where you can feel safe. So like right now, I feel like one step and you can barely even reach the hand, right? So it's going to make you very predictable, and hence where I'm really surprised you get this. But you get it. So we take it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you end up winning this bout? Do you remember?
Yeah, I won it.
Okay.
I think 5-2 or 5-3, something like that. I was still not sure what he was trying to do with that.
I don't think
Um,
he's sure either. So you're not doing too many feints. So far, you've shown me that you can maybe hit the foot. But Jerry Zhang isn't doing too much to distract you.
I almost went off there. Like watching back, I was so close to going off the entire time.
Good double.
That was a double.
Right, so in general, like, this is a relatively safe fencing distance. This is kind of the distance you should try to emulate a lot. Because from here, let's do a snipping tool. In general. Oh, okay, so I'm here. In general, right, so we have a red line. This line here, right? If he does one step, he will be approximately here-ish. And that applies to both of you. And then once you get into the yellow zone, like you can hit his hand without taking, like, if he steps in or you step in, you can basically, without the other one moving, you can hit each other's hands. And typically from there, French grippers can easily hit the foot from there, or we can also go to the body. This is kind of like where you're safe, but if someone makes a misstep, it's easy to punish or be punished. And that's where most fencing should be. You're fencing like with your tip like at the yellow, so like you need to do a step to even do anything. So that means when you're usually fencing that far, you have to do 2 steps before you want to start engaging anything, which probably makes you insanely predictable. Are you following where I'm going?
Yeah. I'm just like trying to internalize all that.
Right, so it's okay. And then I'll leave the stream up after. I'm probably gonna have to edit the friggin' N-word out, but anyway. Yeah, so like I'll leave the stream up so you'll be able to watch it after and take notes if you want. But right, so from here, right, if he steps in, you should be able to like go hand, lunge, and like kill him, or like hand, he takes 6, you disengage, or hand, foot, right? There's so many options. But in general, you seem to be fencing so far that unless they actively do things for you or actively not paying attention, kind of like, right, we'll actually go back to your first low. Actually, let's watch the whole bout and we'll go back. We'll make a note to go back to your first hit and see why it worked. But like, see, this
that was
fine,
my favorite foot touch.
right? And why did it work? Tip to tip, tip to tip, and right. So from here, tip to tip, as I said, right, you're about 1 step or a lunge away from the hand. Guess what's on the same line as the hand?
The foot.
Exactly. So right, so unless you're attacking a far advanced target, you don't feel comfortable because you no longer feel safe. And that's honestly absolutely fine, right? It's just part of learning French grip.
Also, I apologize for my horrific form in that one.
Already so there. So here we have. I talked about self 1 judging self 2, right? So your goal is to hit people, not judge yourself. Obviously, like think of the thing of the whole. So with these judgments, I'm sure you're making judgments like that while you're fencing too. Imagine, right? Imagine as a coach. So right now there's you fencing, right? But then there's also imaginary you up here judging you the whole time. Right? Imagine I was coaching you and I said, "Nice toe hit. Your form sucks." How do you feel?
Not great.
Exactly. So imagine you telling yourself that. You may be not necessarily lying to yourself, but that doesn't feel good, does it? Right? So you're being very, very critical, and it's okay to be critical, but instead of being like, yeah, my form sucked, be like, oh, that was it's a pretty good hit. But you're like, yeah, okay, maybe I could have had my hand higher. I could have straightened my leg, something like that. So just the way you talk to yourself, you don't want to be too
Mhm.
negative, especially in the moment. After the fact, sure, review,
Yeah.
be mean, what have you. But like in the moment, don't let your imaginary coach be too harsh. And that goes
Hmm.
back to that whole thing, like, like when you're fencing really well, or you're fencing out of your mind. And that's a lot of time when people are fencing like that is because they get into that zone where they're very judgment free from the imaginary coach that is themselves.
Hmm.
But not to turn this into a philosophy class.
Yeah. Also, don't mind, I'm literally taking notes on this. Yeah. That hit, I'm pretty sure, destroyed my blade.
That's all right. Destroyed his foot too.
uh, I don't know if what I was doing was right in that case, but before, no, like immediately going. My coach tells me to immediately go forward, a full, jump forward, and then work your way backwards from your back foot on the starting line. Like basically just starting like Russian box of death distance for my
So
opponent
that's not
instead of
so right away, right? Like here,
yeah, like to immediately get into Russian box of death.
that's not too bad. You just got to make sure that your opponent is not willing to call you out. But that's also because we were going out with our Finnish friend earlier. He left. That's all right. We are doing that with our Finnish friend earlier. Like that's another way. It's not my favorite way because I feel like it can be punished, but it's one way to just kind of like you now get a free because your opponent's obviously going to rush you, so you now get a free extra step on your zone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
not against it, but I like be wary.
Yeah, hence why I'm asking.
And now he's
Yeah.
attacking you out of nowhere. So now, yeah, this bout's basically over. But yeah, basically, like the way I'm hearing you talk about yourself, and if this is how you're talking about yourself, like after the fact,
Yeah,
don't
it's more
be
after the fact. In the bout, I'm not thinking at all.
okay. That's fine. But sometimes I'm sure after you lose a bout, you'll be like, oh, my form sucked or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that
anyway,
was a
like
double touch.
that's fine.
That last time was a double touch.
But in the
I'm surprised he got me,
circumstance
but
of what happened, you did everything you were
mhm.
supposed to do. You got a toe hit. The only thing is that you got like a lot of the hits. You got the hits. Yeah, you were a little brave, but he just wasn't ready for you. He didn't respect you. So it's to me
Mhm.
like it's still a W. We take those. But in the grand scheme of things, and then like you closed out the bout very well. So now the next part is like how can you get leads consistently? How can you create moments where you're setting up and not the opposite, right? So you seem to
Mhm.
be very good at reacting to what's in front of you, but the next step is really you have to be able to constantly create. And that's the hard part. I would encourage. Did you watch my last video on the Sicard thing?
I would need to get around to doing that.
Watch that one, and I think you'll learn a lot. But basically, is that from this distance, you should be able to do one step to the. You should be like from here without moving. You can do one step to the hand, get to the body. One step to the hand. If they do six, you go to the body, whatever. But the important thing is that if your opponent enters this distance, you don't even need that step anymore. You can just punish and hit, and that will help you kind
Mhm.
of like manage that flow chart of things. Because a lot of times, like a lot of actions actually look really fucking ugly, but because the hit itself is so good, like because the timing is so good, it's fine. And
Mhm.
if you get a chance, take a note. I did with Horton from Great Britain. I did a really good breakdown about the distance on attacking. So when I re-upload the stream, just take a note to watch that part specifically if you watch anything.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, like don't be too mean to yourself, uh, even after the fact, because I find a lot of that we tend to put ourselves down, and that doesn't always like I find that kind of talk to ourselves rarely leads to something good.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
I'll.
yeah, like embracing, like accepting the negative is a positive experience, but sometimes forcing a positive becomes a negative experience. But again, not a philosopher, nor is this life advice. Just take it at face value. But yeah, like I see a lot of good skills. You're just fencing from too far. So like, get out of your comfort zone, get a bit closer, go find it, and eventually, yeah, you're probably gonna lose a lot of bouts at first. That's what practice is for. Yeah, like just take a lot more risks of practice, and then like obviously if you have a tournament in like a week, then start locking shit down a bit, or even 2 weeks ahead, right? Whatever time frame you need. But like, you know, if you're a month away from competition, don't hesitate to try a lot of stuff.
I will, of course, do all that. Thank you so much for your analysis. That was actually very helpful
No
to me,
worries.
because I've been wondering why I've been like more predictable as of late. Because like, you know, at the beginning when you're starting at fencing, every single coach is like, you need more distance, you need more distance. I think I've gone too far in the distance to get closer.
Wait, say that last part
You know?
again.
Like, because when I was starting, I was always too close, and so now
Yeah, okay, so
I need to get
you're
further
going
away
full
again.
circle, yeah. And then like especially
Yeah.
too close with French grip, it brings a really negative feedback loop because you're just like, why am I losing every day, all the time? Like, why does life suck? So yeah, I
Yeah.
can see why all of a sudden you switch to fencing really far because you're like, well, at least I can fence now.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna
True.
find that happy middle ground.
Yeah. I will go about doing that. Have a wonderful day.
You too, buddy. Take care. All right, guys. I think that's it. A nice 3 hours. I'm gonna go take care of my wife. Oh. Oh, am I still here? I'm still here. All right. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone, and then have yourselves a good rest of your day, or a good evening for the European folks. For foil, I would recommend, like, I'm not a foilist, but I know foil is a lot more like mechanics can get you a lot further than epee. Yeah, so like lots of lessons and lots of partner work is my recommendation.